This is the Government Week in Review for the week ending Friday, September 1st, 2023. I am Chrisanne Mitchell. In the headlines, government to acquire five-star Kawana Bay Resort development and seek new partner to finish stall project. Details of this and other stories when we return.
Prepare for hurricane. Prepare for hurricane. Make sure you have your radio and your batteries too. Waterproof flashlight candles will do. Tin stuff, garbage bag, first aid kit. Come on people, make sure you have it. Clean water in a container and a hurricane plan. Hear me no man.
Hurricane damage is beyond your control. Surviving the aftermath is up to you. Have a hurricane plan. It can save your life and your family too.
Prepare for hurricane. Your hair, prepare for hurricane.
Welcome back. The government of Grenada and a group of U.S. investors that had been working through True Blue Development to build the Kawana Bay Resort near Grandin's Beach have jointly announced the resolution of a dispute that had been under arbitration since 2021 before the World Bank's International Center for Settlement of Investment Disputes. Prime Minister Honorable Deacon Mitchell led efforts to reach an amicable outcome to the impasse which had halted construction of the five-star resort 2 years ago under a prior government. As a result of the agreement, the Grenada government will assume ownership of the Kawana Bay project and property and seek a new developer to complete the project, which had already reached an advanced stage before the dispute arose. In accordance with Grenadian law, owners and investors of Kimpton Kawana Bay will be entitled to seek compensation from the government of Grenada for the compulsory acquisition of the property. Prime Minister the Honorable Deacon Mitchell said, and I quote, "The government of Grenada desires a fair and equitable resolution with all owners and committed purchasers at Kimpton Kawana Bay whose citizenship status in Grenada is unaffected by this negotiated agreement. In fact, the citizenship by investment program remains active and strong, and we anticipate its continued contributions to the Grenada economy and our people," unquote. True Blue investors responded saying, "We commend the government of Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell for working with us to resolve this situation in an atmosphere of mutual respect and trust. We have always believed that the Kawana Bay project will make a tremendous contribution to Grenada's economy and are pleased that the Kawana Bay project will now move forward unburdened by a dispute that arose under a previous government," unquote. The government of Grenada will officially launch its free tuition program on Monday, September 4th. The launch will take place at the Grenada Trade Center from 2:30 p.m. and will be broadcast live on the Government Information Service. The free tuition policy has been approved by Cabinet for students attending T.A. Marshall Community College and the New Life organization. Speaking in Parliament on Tuesday, Minister for Education, Senator the Honorable David Andrew, said the free tuition policy will also be extended to the 3-year pharmacology program at TAMCC. Senator Andrew clarified that although tuition will be absorbed by the government, students will still pay for ID cards, registration, and other deliverables. He said his government has allocated $2.5 million towards the free tuition policy.
This policy is one where the government will pay the tuition fees associated with study at TAMCC or NULO, right, or any other approved center in time. And so we know that the $810 annual fee that was payable at the T.A. Marshall Community College, that fee will be absorbed through this government's free tuition policy. Further, that same fee will be applied to persons pursuing studies at NULO. So I know it will cover the tuition part of NULO fees, but it will be an excess that will be applied to some of the other fees. So we want to make it clear, we are not saying there are no other fees. You may have to pay registration fees, you may have to pay T-shirts and other deliverables that you may get, the identification badge. We're not interfering with that at this point. But we are happy to bear the load of the $810 tuition fee, $810 tuition fee. We are very, very happy to do that.
Residents of Lacaloom Housing Scheme now have a fully revamped water system, ensuring a healthier environment through wastewater collection, treatment, and management system. The $1.2 million project is a collaborated effort of the Government of Grenada, the Housing Authority of Grenada, and the National Water and Sewerage Authority. The work involves installing tanks and building a wetland system. The Lacaloom Wastewater Collection, Treatment, and Management System was officially launched on Thursday. The project lasted approximately 12 weeks and was executed by Daniel and Daniel Engineering and Plumbing Solutions. Prime Minister Honorable Deacon Mitchell thanked the committed team for a well-executed, timely project that will improve citizens' quality of life.
Mr. Daniel, thank you and your team of hardworking men for ensuring that this was delivered ahead of time and on budget. Now, oftentimes with government projects, you are never on budget and you are never on time, much less ahead of time. So I really want you to extend applause to Mr. Daniel and his team for the great job that they've done. So, to the residents of Lacaloom and the media who are here, and this really is about the residents of Lacaloom. Minister Telesford, I didn't just see the sewage, and I didn't just smell the stench. I actually walked in the sewage. On this very site. Because if you come here at night and you can't see where you're going, and you walk through, that is the experience I had. So I was almost knee-deep in the sewage. So I understand the enormous patience and endurance that the residents of Lacaloom have endured over the last 13 years.
Since untreated sewage won't be flowing into the rivers, the initiative will also improve the marine ecosystem.
We have a collective responsibility to address the preservation of our environment. And if we are polluting our streams, we are polluting our rivers, polluting our seas, then we can't jump on the mic and talk about climate change and the environment and blame everybody else when we are part of the problem. So it's very important, and I'm very happy that the solution that we found to this is one that is environmentally friendly, one that is sustainable, and one that all of us can continue to use and replicate as we go forward.
From a report done by the Board of Directors at the Housing Authority of Grenada, the issue at Lacaloom was classified as urgent. Minister for Social and Community Development, Housing and Gender Affairs, Honorable Philip Telesford, thanked the people of the area for their patience while the project was ongoing.
We were able to do this at a cost of $1.2 million in record time. And I feel proud to be able to drive into these parts without the stench of raw sewage. I really don't know how the people of Lacaloom coped with this for all of these years. But you did. And for this, I want to commend you for your patience and your tolerance. We are happy that we were able to render a solution to this problem in record time within the first year of stewardship in government. We recognize that cholera could have been knocking right at our doorsteps right here at Lacaloom. And this for us was an emergency.
In resident Jamal Phillips' words, in everything it is important to give gratitude.
It's amazing now that it was just the other day we were here and hearing that help is on the way. Emergency style. Well, this is what they call emergency rescue. Because I didn't thought that it would have been so soon. As a matter of fact, I didn't even pay attention as to how long this thing would have taken. I find it was so quick that today we could stand here and, have an official handing over of this completed project, which is wonderful.
This is the government's week in review. Still to come, 8 physicians added to the staff at the General Hospital.
Have you noticed an increase or decrease in your electricity bill? You know that changes in the fuel and non-fuel rates affect your bill. You should also be aware that changes in household activities affect your bill. Ask yourself these questions. Have the rates changed? Have there been more people at your home? Have your children been on holiday? Have you used your fan or air conditioning unit more often to beat the heat? Are any of your electrical appliances or equipment faulty? Have you added any new appliances such as transformers, water heaters, or pumps? Make it a habit to understand any changes on your electricity bill. For more factors that affect your bill, visit www.grenlec.com. Grenlec, energizing our Grenada.
Welcome back. The wait time at the Accident and Emergency Department of the General Hospital is expected to significantly reduce with the addition of medical personnel. 8 physicians who recently graduated from St. George's University has completed their internship program and are now employed as house officers at the hospital. Speaking at this week's Senate sitting, Minister for Health, Wellness and Religious Affairs, Senator Jonathan Lacrette, said this is a big win for Grenada's health sector.
Generally, we'll have 1 or 2. So this is really a big win because we've never had such a huge number. We've never had such a huge number in a long time. So the 8 for us is really good, and they are being rotated now around various areas of the hospital in terms of departments so that they can find their bearings before we actually have them have a taste of the Accident and Emergency Department.
Senator Lacrette said the goal is to strengthen the medical services provided at the A&E department.
In December, we will also have another batch of 8 graduating. So from my medical team, we feel as though that 15, 16 doctors would be enough for us to have a rotation process going, especially at the Accident and Emergency Department, so that the wait is cut down by 3/4. Madam President, the truth is the truth. It's a long wait with one doctor who wants to ensure that he properly physically examine the individuals who come into the ER, or who comes into the A&E, sorry. He or she will take some time to ensure that no malpractice is done, etc. So I understand the wait, because there are times you go in the past, and I myself as a citizen, you have to wait. Yes, and based on the criticality of your emergency, you may want some immediate redress before the persons who are sitting there, etc. So we're looking at a 12-hour shift, yes, and per person, so that we can have them on a rotation basis and have 2 doctors on call at the Accident and Emergency Department before the end of the year, or early next year, God's willing.
Approximately 1,800 students benefited from the Government School Uniform Assistance Program this year as part of Government School Readiness Program. Education Minister Senator Honorable David Andrew told the Upper House earlier this week that the Ministry of Education has reintroduced the paperless version of the program, an initiative that was implemented a few years ago under the previous administration. The application process was completed prior to the closure of school in July through the principals and class teachers. Minister Andrew explained how the technological medium works.
A couple months ago, since before the term ended, circulars were sent to schools advising principals to inform parents that they submit their names, fill the forms, and we got good responses and we got good cooperation from the schools to have the names of students, the over almost 2,000 recipients, have their names submitted, forms filled. This year, Madam President, we are happy to report that we are using a technological medium. In fact, it was once piloted before. We do believe that it is the way to go in an era of technology. So this year, we are using machine-readable codes, QR codes, to have the payments made. And I recall last year, when we had thousands of dollars to be spent printing the paper vouchers. And so in keeping with government's policy to reduce printing, we are happy that we are not printing, but we are using the phone numbers of the applicants, their parents, to have a QR code sent. There are vendors that have been trained, and at each of the vending sites, there are terminals that are specially adapted to read the codes. It itemizes the items that are available for school supplies and all of that, and the value and the payments are made through that medium.
The initiative is aligned with government's paperless policy and is safer for the environment.
This method, we assure you, apart from being more environmentally friendly and in keeping with government's no printing or low printing policy, it's safer. It can be used with or without internet. So if persons are worried that you have to be online to use it, no. You snap the code once you have it, and with or without internet, it functions. So it's not a challenge, and everybody has a phone. 90-something% of our population, let me put it that way, have phones, and so it's a very user-friendly medium. It might be new, and so for some it might take a little learning curve, but nothing that's new comes without a curve.
The Education Minister said all schools are ready to be reopened on Monday, September 4th for the new school year. A pedestrian bridge has been officially opened in Mount William, St. Mark, connecting over 5 communities. Residents of the small village are happy that after several decades, they no longer have to fear the river following heavy rains. The bridge was opened on Tuesday in the presence of Parliamentary Representative Honorable Joseph Andal and People's Republic of China Ambassador to Grenada, His Excellency Wei Hongxiang. The new structure holds many benefits to the community, which consists of mainly farmlands. Honorable Joseph Andal said the pedestrian bridge is the start to development in the area. He outlines his plans for Mount William.
My dream eventually is for a motorable bridge across the river. However, we must know that Rome was not built in a day, and sometimes we have to start with the smaller, more immediate, more easily achievable things, and then move on to the bigger ones when time and resources permit. Ambassador Wei spoke about the potential for tourism here. One of the things that I discovered during my campaign trip was this abandoned sugar mill. I took several photographs and made a couple of videos and even posted them on Facebook a couple of years ago, talking about the potential for tourism development. Because we have to move away from the concept of tourism being grandstands, big hotels, and white sandy beaches. Different people come to Grenada for different reasons, and we have to give them more reasons to want to come here, stay here, and leave with the memories, but leave the dollars behind. So, now that I have tracked down the owner of the property there, the next step to bring some life into this area will be finding ways to rehabilitate that ruined sugar mill and to find the necessary funding to restore it and to create a tourism attraction site that can generate employment and income for the people of this and surrounding communities.
Ambassador Wei Hongxiang is pleased that his country continues to fulfill dreams throughout Grenada.
From now, today, not today, I think some time ago, maybe 3 months ago, so people no longer need to cross the river, especially during rainy season. So it's can step on this bridge from now. So I think this bridge, the benefit of this will go a long way. I think not only community here, surrounding areas, and also outside these areas, and even the international tourists can enjoy the advantage of this bridge.
Community member Cosling Andal thanked government and China for not neglecting the community. She highlighted what the construction of the bridge means for Mount William.
My parents and many other folks who are not with us today to witness this novel transformation are smiling with a striking sense of gratitude and relief. Because this pathway allows that no longer and no more our children, our mothers, our grandmothers, our elderly folks will have to risk being washed away by heavy rains when this river overflows its bank on a yearly basis. Less manpower is now needed to transport our cocoa and other crops across the river. Therefore, our food production will increase, enhancing our food security.
Minister with responsibility for sports, Honorable Ron Redhead, has congratulated Lyndon Victor on his remarkable performance in the World Athletics Championship, which led to him securing a bronze medal for Grenada, his first World Championship medal. Minister Redhead said the perseverance and level of tenacity that Victor has demonstrated as a decathlete and now World Athletics Championship bronze medalist is worth celebrating. He also echoed the national pride of Victor's unwavering strength to keep Grenada flag flying, noting that being a decathlete is no easy feat. Lyndon, who is also a two-time Commonwealth Games champion, was able to complete his 10 events, recording a number of season's best and establishing a new world record in the decathlon discus throw, 54.64 meters, scoring a total of 8,756 points altogether, setting a national record. Though he excelled in the discus event, Victor said his performance in all the events added to the victory, with his motivation being the people of Grenada.
Which event is decided? Maybe your discus throw?
I just think it was all the events come together, you know. It's a decathlon. I wouldn't pinpoint one event to say, oh, it was the discus. I'm a 55-meter discus thrower, so, you know, it's like just steady the whole way, just solid events, and it ended up being a big score. So I think that's the nature of the decathlon.
How difficult to win a medal from Grenada, from your country?
I mean, we only have 100,000 people on the island, so just coming out here and being one of the best in the world with 7-8 billion people is just an amazing story, and I'm just humbled to be a part of a country like Grenada and represent Grenada to the best of my abilities.
Minister Redhead also expressed thanks and appreciation to former World Athletics champions Kirani James and Anderson Peters, who did not medal this year, and Haley Hazard, who also competed at this year's championship. He further stated that obstacles do come our way, but it's how we rise from it that makes the difference, and he encouraged them to remain focused and learn the necessary lessons along the way. We take another break. When we return, Ministry of Christian Women launched.
At the NIS, our team proudly works to support the evolving needs of Grenadians. We have made some changes to our operations and want to keep you informed. Firstly, we are happy to introduce the new unemployment benefit. This benefit will provide an insured person with 50% of his or her former income in the case of sudden unemployment. To support this benefit and other benefits we offer, it was necessary to increase the contribution rate. The contribution rate will increase gradually each year until it reaches 16% in 2031. As always, the contribution will be split between you and your employer. The pensionable age will also increase from 60 to 65 years. This increase will also be gradually reaching age 65 in 2029. Pensioners will continue to be eligible for a pension from age 60, but will receive a reduced payment. The NIS recognizes that the prices of basic customer goods are increasing globally. Therefore, we are happy to also increase the weekly minimum pension payment by 25%. Finally, we have adjusted our survivors' benefit payment to a percentage of the age pension minimum. Widows, widowers, and dependent parents will receive 100% or $58 weekly, while children will receive 50% or $29 weekly of the deceased's pension. We are here to make the transition to these new changes as clear and simple as possible. If you have any questions on how these changes impact you and your family, please contact our new informational hotline at 440-6647 or visit www.nisgrenada.org. thank you for allowing us to be your social security provider.
Welcome back. Dorcas Foundation, a faith-based ministry of Christian women, was launched on Wednesday at the Grenada Trade Center Annex. The foundation is based on the principles of biblical character and disciple Dorcas, who was devoted to good works and charity. With membership from the 6 parishes, Carriacou and Petite Martinique, and the diaspora, the foundation has already started on its mission statement, Service in Action, by lending a helping hand to families. President Sister Elizabeth Forsyth said the former Member of Parliament, Joan Purcell, gave her the motivation to start the foundation. She described Ms. Purcell as a spiritual leader, role model, and mentor. President Forsyth said the foundation will continue to expand its reach and membership, and the launch only signifies the beginning of what's to come.
The foundation is a faith-based ministry of Christian women working together to meet the physical, social, emotional, and spiritual needs in families and communities in our nation in order to bring about godly change and transformation in lives. We have already begun to provide food, clothing, school supplies, school bags, and other things that students need. And of course, God has used us to be a blessing to families who reached out to the public for help.
Prime Minister Honorable Deacon Mitchell, who attended the launch and assisted in the unveiling of the logo, is happy that the foundation is determined to serve wholeheartedly and touch the life of others.
As a community, as a sisterhood, as a foundation, your wisdom shows today. And I want to start by congratulating you on the launch of this foundation. So I'm heartened, I'm emotional, I'm excited about the fact that this foundation is being launched, that your passion for people in need, for children, for youth, for disadvantaged and abused women, and many others who need your support and your prayers, now have an opportunity to get that support and that praise.
Members of Parliament, Honorable Corinne James and Honorable Delma Thomas, also endorsed the foundation.
I am confident that we will surely benefit from the spiritual fortitude and dedicated service that the Dorcas Foundation is poised to offer. In a world where we battle both the environmental and spiritual challenges, I pray and hope that this foundation be a beacon of hope and resilience for our nation's children and the entirety of our country.
Dorcas Tabitha, she was a faithful woman of God, and she was devoted in doing good works and charity. And that is why I am happy to endorse this Dorcas Foundation here this morning, because I know that you will be walking in her footsteps. You will be following the things that she did in her time. And so I first commend you. You have a serious role. In fact, the role is not only for charity, but the role is to pray for our country, pray for our government, pray for our young people, pray for our entire nation.
During the ceremony, Acting Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Social and Community Development, Mrs. Veronica Charles, was presented with a package for the Grand Bachelet Juvenile Center. In a bid to revolutionize the agricultural sector and usher in a new era of efficiency, the Ministry of Agriculture and Lands, Fisheries and Cooperatives made available power tillers and water pumps to local farmers, marking a significant leap towards more convenient and productive farming practices. Details in this report.
Made possible through Caritas Internationalis, a global coalition of more than 160 Catholic relief, development, and social service organizations spanning over 200 countries and territories, the ministry distributed the tools to 152 farmers, comprising both individual farmers and farming groups. The distribution ceremony took place at the Chinese mission headquarters at Lasages, St. David, last Friday. Farmers were not only handed the equipment, but also provided with valuable knowledge through informative sessions led by skilled machine operators. These sessions were tailored to educate farmers about the proper assembly, operation, and maintenance of the power tiller, which is important in ensuring the optimal performance of the tools. By replacing labor intensive methods with modern technology, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture and Lands, Fisheries and Cooperatives, Aaron Francois, says this initiative seeks to inspire farmers to increase their output.
As we support you, you have to support the country. We have to come together and produce more food in Grenada. And it is not that we cannot produce more, you know. We could produce more. We have a lot of land that is not, that is currently abandoned. You go across the country, a lot of land that is, you know, not under production. We need to bring back those lands into production. And giving out those pumps and those power tillers today is part of the process of helping you, giving you the means to produce more.
Acting Chief Extension Officer Lawrence St. Louis earnestly urged farmers to utilize the tools for the enhancement of the agricultural sector.
You are the vanguards of the people who are standing in the way of us being from starvation and having food. And having nutritious food is something that we will always need, regardless of the situation, regardless of the advances in technology, regardless of everything else. We will always need food. And that means we will always need our farmers. And so the Ministry of Agriculture is very, very excited and very, very happy to be able to assist you and to incentivize you in this manner so that your production will be much easier and much more effective and much more efficient as you go along.
Farmer Anne Regis from Regis Farm and Cassava Company expressed her gratitude upon receiving a water pump. She emphasized that this addition would significantly contribute to her increased production, particularly in the challenging dry season.
It will give me that incentive to produce more and also to produce more to the market, right? Especially in the dry season. I appreciate that to help me during that time, because at that time, you know, sometimes I have a kind of stagnant for the water and for the produce. So at that time I will, you know, use it to the best of my ability.
Sally Gilberry, who received one of the tillers, highlighted the substantial impact it would have on her farm by efficiently turning over the soil.
Well, it helped us a lot because we like to do a short crop and we have to regularly turn over the ground to put down new crops. So it will help us a lot in that way. Thank you very much. It's a big help. I didn't expect to be able to get a tiller, so I was quite surprised and we're happy to get this.
The power tillers and water pumps were distributed among farmers spanning all 4 extension districts: Western, Northern, Southern, and Eastern. Some were assigned to individual farmers, and some will be shared among farmers who work in the same area.
Grenada was the host country for the regional communications training facilitated by the OECS Commission through the Biospace and Integrated Land Management projects. Both the Integrated Land Management projects and the support program in coastal environments, Biospace, financed by the European Union, are 5-year projects. The Biospace and ILM projects are being implemented throughout small island developing states in Africa, the Caribbean, and Pacific states, and as part of that process, communications training is being provided. This training aims to improve writing abilities while also ensuring that information is accurate and timely. Areas of the training include writing press releases, information gathering, and content preparation. Participants from the Commonwealth of Dominica, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Grenada spent 2 days at the Grenada Olympic Committee from August 29th to 30th. Area St. Louis, Grenada's focal point for the Biospace project, addressed the opening ceremony.
Communication is often not just underrepresented, but overlooked. Making sure to understand our target groups, making sure to be able to effectively package information in addition to the content becomes extremely important. And I think that today celebrates the recognition that those who are in communications, particularly in the context of third world countries and of islands, need to be elevated in order to be able to be effective at their jobs. It is no longer a case of where we can sort of say, well, you can wear many hats and include communication in that, because the sophistication of communication in order to manage and modify behavior change, which is what we ultimately are looking for. I mean, if you talk with most marine biologists who are concerned about the marine environment, they're looking at land-based sources of pollution, for example. There needs to be behavior modification, and we know as humans that the changes that we have wrought on the planet are certainly the impacts are certainly becoming compounded, and therefore people need to start to connect the dots in a way that they haven't.
The second day was devoted to an outdoor activity in which participants received hands-on instruction on how to operate a camera to produce the best photos and films for content production. Each represented country received a basic communications kit for utilizing for content creation. GIS representative Chris and Mitchell received the kits on the department's behalf. And finally, the parish of St. David has completed a cricket program for aspiring cricketers in which they were taught the basics and fundamentals of cricket by Joyce Cricket School. St. David was the first parish to launch the initiative, and the program is expected to commence in other schools soon. The program creator and parliamentary representative for St. David, Honorable Deacon Mitchell, advised the students to regard cricket as an investment in their lives.
This is all about our communities. This is ensuring that we have initiatives that strengthen, build, and grow our communities. And our communities start with our young people, because they are the future of the communities. So while this is about cricket, it is also about building the communities, friendship, working together, teamwork, getting to know one another. And I'm particularly happy. Principals, I'm not going to leave you out, because if you had said no to the initiative, especially during the summer, and if you weren't prepared to support it again, we would not be able to have the students here. So boys and girls, part of this camp is to expose you to the tremendous opportunities that are available in a career in cricket. And so yes, you can start from now by aiming to be a professional cricketer or someone who works in the cricket industry even from now.
Minister for Youth, Sports and Culture, Honorable Ron Redhead, says the government, through the Ministry of Sports and Culture, will continue to support this initiative.
Where we sit, we see cricket and its revitalization as a critical part of bringing Grenada back into the mainstream of sports in general, but of course, ensuring that cricket is researched and is done in a way most commonly used now, transformed. The role of government, we believe, is to ensure that we build out the grassroots, community and schools programs to ensure that our national effort is something that could be the envy of the Caribbean. This administration is keen to ensure that sports is not just revived, but is sustained and built upon the principles that can carry it beyond our time.
Marlene Batiste, principal of the St. Teresa's Roman Catholic School, thanked the Prime Minister and all involved for their interest in the children of the parish.
I therefore take this opportunity to applaud Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell and all the persons who would have been at the genesis of this initiative. I also give special commendation to the coaches, especially Mr. Charles and Mr. Klein, for their dedication. For apart from the obvious health benefit that playing cricket can afford, it can also enable one to improve one's concentration, boost self-confidence, and help our students to develop such values as sportsmanship, fair play, team spirit, and national pride.
Cricket kits were procured for the participants through the Ministry of Social and Community Development. That brings us to the end of the Week in Review for the week ending September 1st, 2023. I am Chris and Mitchell. Thank you for joining us.